What if I told you that holding a grudge is, well, chemically poisoning your body? In this explainer, I'm going to dive into the really surprising science of forgiveness and how letting go might just be the most powerful thing you can do for your own health.
You know, this quote just nails a chilling truth, doesn't it? Holding on to anger can feel so powerful, almost satisfying, like you're winning some kind of battle. But the science is crystal clear. The only person you're truly devouring is yourself.
So let's start with the poison itself, because unforgiveness isn't just a passive feeling. It's an active biological state, and it has some pretty profound physical consequences for your body.
So, when scientists talk about unforgiveness, what they're really describing is a sustained stress response. It's not just one single emotion, it's this toxic cocktail of resentment, bitterness, and anger that puts your entire system on a constant, draining high alert.
And the engine driving this whole response? Well, it's a process called rumination. You know what I'm talking about. It's that obsessive mental loop where you just replay the hurtful event, the angry words, the injustice, over and over and over again. It's kind of like constantly picking at a wound, making it impossible to ever really heal.
And this has a massive biological effect. See, rumination constantly activates your body's central stress response system. It's called the hypothalamus-pituitary-adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short. Just think of it as your body's command center for emergencies. When you're ruminating, you're basically tricking your brain into thinking the emergency is never, ever over.
And here's the real chemical cost of that grudge. That constant alarm floods your body with stress hormones like cortisol. Now, in a real emergency, that stuff saves your life. But when it's flowing all the time because of a grudge, it actually becomes corrosive. It suppresses your immune system, it raises your blood pressure, and it disrupts your body's most basic functions. That's a huge, long-term price to pay for an emotional debt.
Okay, so this leads to one of the biggest hurdles, right? A lot of us resist forgiveness because we fundamentally misunderstand what it actually is, and maybe more importantly, what it isn't.
This is so important to get. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is absolutely not excusing bad behavior. You don't have to reconcile with a person or even speak to them ever again. And most importantly, it is not a gift for the person who hurt you. Instead, look at the other side. Forgiveness is a conscious choice you make for your well-being. It's a powerful tool you can learn, a strategy to finally break that toxic cycle and set yourself free.
Okay, now for the good stuff, the payoff. What does the science say actually happens to our bodies when we choose that path of forgiveness? The results are pretty incredible.
Research frames forgiveness as this critical coping strategy that quite literally creates a fork in the road for your health. I mean, look at this. One path, unforgiveness, is a direct route to all those negative emotions and poor health outcomes we just talked about. But the other path, forgiveness, offers a tangible, measurable route to better health and well-being. Let's start with your heart. Forgiveness is directly associated with lower blood pressure and a lower resting heart rate. It literally reduces the workload on your most vital organ. And get this, studies have linked a forgiving nature to a decreased risk of coronary artery disease and, remarkably, a faster cardiovascular recovery after you experience stress.
And the benefits for our minds are just as profound. By deliberately breaking that cycle of anger and rumination, forgiveness has been shown to reduce the symptoms of anxiety, depression, and even post-traumatic stress. But it isn't just about feeling less bad. It's about actively creating the mental space for higher self-esteem and a genuine sense of hope for the future.
This is amazing. Forgiveness can even change your physical experience of the world. By lowering that chronic stress load, it actually frees up your immune system to work better. And for people dealing with chronic pain, studies show forgiveness can reduce pain levels by tamping down the anger that, it turns out, amplifies those pain signals.
So, knowing all of these incredible benefits is one thing, but how do we actually do it? You know, how do we get from feeling the hurt to feeling the healing? Well, researchers have laid out a kind of evidence-based roadmap. It starts with step 1. You have to acknowledge the hurt. You can't heal what you don't admit is wounded. Then, step 2 is to make a choice. This is a private commitment you make to yourself for yourself. Step 3 is often the hardest. Try to find empathy, not to excuse them, but just to see their flawed humanity, because that loosens anger's grip. And finally, step 4, rewrite your ending. You actively shift your focus from replaying the past to building your future.
And in the end, it really comes down to this. You can't erase the past, but you can take back the pen.
Forgiveness is a declaration that the person who hurt you no longer gets to control your story. You get to decide how the next chapter is written, and just how healthy you'll be while you're writing it.